KC9VKV, looks like we have a clear channel, at least at the moment. KC9VKV, KC9VKV, KC9Victor, Tim Victor, KC9VKV, K1 George, Zebra London calling, KC9VKV, KC9VKV, K1 KC9VKV, calling by the top channel.
Howdy, Charlie. This is KC9VKV. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, about 10 over 9. Very, very good. Very good. A lot of short shift coming in, so I should be getting the SDR in Rochester, or as they say there, Pennsylvania, which northeast, yeah, well, actually, I favor Rochester better, but gosh knows, you'll find that right now there's a few like little baby snowflakes in the air, like a drizzle, and 24 degrees, 24 degrees. Back to you, and see how you're talking KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. I'm not getting the SDR. I think I've been timed out. I will try to time myself back in, and I'll give you a shout in a couple of minutes. Roger.
Okay, I don't want to lose the frequency. The band is very active. We're just walking here, so yeah, I think we better stay on the air because we're going to lose the channel for it.
Roger. Well, I'm about 15 feet away from the computer to be able to time myself back in. So maybe we'll just have to take a chance because otherwise, I can't get to the SDR to revive it. Roger.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I'll be back on in about 4. How many minutes do you think it'll take? That's right.
About 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes.
Okay, Roger. I'll stand by.
Roger. And this is KC9VKV. Charlie, you got a copy?
Charlie, you got a copy? Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Right out in the clear. Go ahead.
Roger. I'm on the Rochester SDR, and I've got myself as clean as you, Roger.
Clean as you, Roger. Okay, Roger on that. I'd be curious how strong I am on the Rochester one. Gosh knows where their antennas are pointed or aimed or whatever. It could be anywhere. But you're coming in beautifully here. Absolutely beautiful.
Shortly, you have some food, or it's just like...
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
As clean as you, Roger.
Okay, well, that's all I got. Anyway, let me turn it back to you, and you can give me an idea of the signal strength there in New York State. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Using the Rochester SDR, you are about 20 dB over the noise level there, Roger.
Noise level there, Roger.
Okay, how's your signal in Rochester?
About the same. About the same, Roger.
About the same, Roger.
Okay, well, Rochester is closer to me than to you. Yes, it is a bit closer. Yeah. Good job in here, yeah.
Clean as you, Roger.
Okay, wait a minute.
Your SDR, you are about 20 dB over the noise level there, Roger.
Okay, so how did that recording come through? Go ahead.
Excellent, Charlie. This is, I think, the SDR that we could use, when we do our thing. I went over to the regular my receiver, and you were definitely in the noise. You were. I could barely copy you in the noise, but on this SDR receiver, you're like 15 dB or 20 dB over their noise level.
Their noise level.
Okay, well, that may be the way to go, but actually, you're good copy. You're way over my background here. My noise level, let's see, what is it?
My noise level is an S4 to 5. and you're 9 to 10 over, so I'm getting you better than you're getting me. That's amazing, because this antenna is not the world's best. Although I did work Ian this morning, VK3MO. I worked him at 5:13 this morning, and he was peaking 20-25 over 9 here. But he has two stacked rhombics, one on top of the other, that are aimed at New York City. He tells me I'm 8 degrees north of the lobe, but close. So he doesn't get me too much weaker than he did when my antenna was working. But then again, Jim, my antenna was never aimed at Australia. I'm well east of Australia, so it's just my location that helps me down there. But to Europe, it's terrible. It's all uphill toward Europe, and I very rarely ever can put much of a signal into Australia. I mean, into Europe. I'm blocked. But yeah, I'm glad that SDR is working. Now, there could be days that the skip will be too long, and it would be better if you had another one a little further away, a couple hundred miles or so, that would be in the skip zone when Rochester is not. From here to Rochester, if it's the F layer, it's a pretty high angle. It's a high angle, I would say, about 40 degrees above the horizon. 40 degrees above the horizon from here to Rochester, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, what I'll do is I'll make this Rochester #1 for the moment, because it is excellent. And let me go to, hang on just a second, I'll be right back. I don't have my book, it's in the computer. But let me dial up another repeater and see how it is. I think I have one in New Hampshire. Would that be a good one?
Would that be a good one?
No. I'd skip right over that. You wouldn't hear me at all except on backscatter. That's way too close. Nothing closer than Rochester would be reliable. Go ahead.
Roger. Okay, I'll give you a shout back in a couple of minutes, Roger.
Okay, if you can get West Virginia, that is in the works. We're going to see how that is in the future, and we will have to use repeater, because the daytime skip from here out to where Jim is lossy. It loses a lot of sock, so to speak, because the short skip predominates. KD2, yeah, Jim, that's KD2, Mike Kilowatt, Japan, and Carl is just east of Buffalo, New York, or west of Rochester, as they say there, and just running 90 watts to an 80-meter inverted V. KC9VKV, I guess you've had time to check the other SDRs, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. I'm on northeast Pennsylvania now, and it's as good or better than Rochester. It's weird. It's slightly off frequency by 0.06 or so, but it is as clean as a tack, Roger.
Okay, well, in talking to Jim, he finds that one very reliable. Northeast Pennsylvania. Once in a great while, it's not on. It just isn't there. But at least if you have two backups, if one doesn't work, the other one does. But boy, you're right in here.
It's weird. It's slightly off frequency by 0.06 or so, but it is as clean as a tack, Roger.
Okay, Jim, how are you copying Carl near Buffalo? Go ahead.
I don't copy him very well on the northeast Pennsylvania SDR. Let me go back to Rochester. You guys, Sally Forth, and I'll be on the Rochester one. Roger.
Okay, well, Jim is very close to Rochester, like I would be anywhere in New Hampshire. You might not hear him.
Roger, Charlie. Well, Rochester's perfect again. I did not have any kind of copy at all on Carl, I guess it was. I could not copy him on either the northeast Pennsylvania, that's Milford, Pennsylvania, could not copy him on that one, and then when I went to Rochester, I couldn't copy him on that one either. So I guess he's somewhere in between those two, Roger.
Between those two, Roger.
Oh, yeah. See, the thing is, he's not far from the Rochester. I don't think he's 60 miles. 60 miles. And the Northeast Pennsylvania one is probably, I don't know, 180 miles, and that might be a little bit close, just a little bit too close. It only takes a few miles to make a difference between nothing and 9+++. There, Jim, go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. I was just hit a coffee there. Well, anyway, so I think we've got two excellent alternatives there. Either one of these are just beautiful, you know. So I think we could go with those. Most of the time, a lot of times, you're giving me 15 over my noise level, or 12 over, somewhere in there. So it's, you know, that's fine. It's not too noisy at all, but sometimes you know, you get down to that just maybe a 6 over noise level, and that gets pretty noisy. So these are, I say, either one of these are good. You're a good 15 dB over on these, Roger.
dB over on these, Roger.
Okay, Roger. By the way, I might not be on tomorrow's schedule at 3:30. I might. It all depends. I might have somebody visiting. I'm not sure yet. I have to put a question mark on that, Jim. But yeah, obviously it's working. It's working. And both those SDRs are just far enough away to allow this to happen. If I were 100 miles closer to Rochester, you probably wouldn't hear me at all, except on backscatter. Who knows until we try it. But I think in the future, any schedule around 2 p.m. would be good. And as far as doing this and writing this up, if you could do that, at least get one or the first 1 or 2 chapters and mail it up here. Bob has had a trouble. Bob could not get the message you had sent to me on his computer. He's had trouble with that computer, KB1IZU. So I think if you could mail me the first part or something, we could go from there, Jim. He's had trouble with that computer lately. Go ahead.
Oh, roger that. Well, you know, this is something down the road, and I'll have to kind of check around to see if I can find the material, you know, and then figure out how to, you know, to get it to you. And we'd probably do it, like I say, we'd do it in maybe 10-minute segments. I think that would probably be the best way, you know, and so we would just cover a limited amount of ground, and I could foresee this. You know, we would do maybe you know, a series of these, and we'd have the history of radio in the can, Roger. In the can, Roger.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Let's hope we have propagation like this. Gosh, it's your beautiful copy right now directly from southern Indiana. If I had this quad working, I know I'd be a lot stronger out there, but there's nothing I can do about it until it's fixed. The top of the rope supporting the top of the driven element. The driven element itself broke. It broke from the middle pole. In other words, it fell forward and down. And it's way out of alignment with the other 2 elements. The SWR is horrible, and how the darn thing is getting out of the backyard, I don't know. And I'm only running half legal limit right now, Jim, so that's what I have to play with, and I'll have to play with this until April, I guess, until we get rid of all this snow and stuff. As I mentioned on the phone, we've had 95 inches for the season so far. Not on the ground, of course. We've had warm spots in between, or periods that melted things. But right now, light snow is falling at 24 degrees, and this is not going to amount to much more. We may get a snowstorm that is major Tuesday and next Wednesday. We're going to have to watch that very carefully up here. We could get clobbered if it comes to pass. I'd say it's a 50-50 chance. If it doesn't hit us, it'll go out to sea too far. But it's an active weather pattern, and we'll see what happens. Okay, Jim, I won't hold it any longer. You may have other things on your docket, so to speak. And here you are.
On the east, Roger. I'll have to kind of check around to see if I can find the material, and then figure out how to, to get it to you. And we'll probably do it, like say, we'd do it in maybe 10-minute segments. I think that would probably be the best way, and so we would just cover a limited amount of ground. And I could foresee this, we would do maybe, a series of these, and we'd have the history of radio in the can, Roger.
Okay, how'd that come through, Jim?
Oh, excellent, Charlie. Excellent, excellent. I mean, you're the RCA dog. You're the RCA dog, the one that is the emblem of quality. Well, that was a quality transmission. Good job. And there was a fade in there, but you only faded to 10 dB over my noise level. There was just a little white noise came up, but nothing to worry about. I mean, that you were still at its worst. You were still 10 dB over my over there noise level, Roger.
Noise level, Roger.
Okay, WA3 Mike Papa X-ray. Go ahead. We're talking to Jim. KC9 Victor King Victor in southern Indiana, and there goes my voice. My handle is Charlie. I'm up in northern end of New Hampshire on the Canadian border, just east 2.5 miles of the northeast tip of Vermont, where Vermont sticks into northern New Hampshire at Clarksville, and the name is Charlie. Go ahead.
I just wanted to see how my signal is. Golf Alpha Radio yesterday, and communication, Erie, Pennsylvania. Between Cleveland, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York, right on the shores of Lake Erie. And you guys are good 15 to 20 over here. Loudest signals I've heard in a long time. I just wanted to make sure I was getting out. I'm running a TS590 barefoot. My linear sort of went out on me, and so I've been running barefoot. I know conditions have been really bad, so I just want to make sure I was getting out. I have a offset dipole that I use, and it's up about 30 feet. But anyway, Charlie, I didn't get your call, so let me shoot it back there to you. And yeah, last year, I'll tell you what. Last year at Christmas time, we ended up with about 60 to snow. I don't know if you remember hearing about that. I called my daughter in the morning here, ready to head over. My sister lives west of me towards Ohio. She called and she says, "It's snowing there?" And I said, "No, not yet." She said, "Boy, it's snowing here." And nobody could get here Christmas Day. I expect Christmas Day alone. But this year, we had a snowfall maybe, I think it was in November. We had maybe, 8 inches. That's all we've seen. It's just been, we got a little bit of snow on the ground now, but nothing to write home about. You can still see the grass. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow, and it's been in the 40s, so there you go. But anyway, back there to you, Charlie, if I can just pick up your call. But again, I just wanted to see about getting out. Charlie, go ahead and take it. Just the Whiskey Alpha 3 Mike Papa.
Okay, Gary, fine. Gary, fine. Yeah, the call is K1 G George Z Zebra L London, K1 Germany Zanzibar London, and I made a recording of your signal. Would you like to hear it? Go ahead. Okay, here it is.
Cleveland, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York, right on the shores of Lake Erie, and you guys, like you said, you're both are good 15 to 20 over here. Loudest signals I've heard in a long time. I just wanted to make sure I was getting out. I'm running a TS590 barefoot. My linear sort of went out on me, and so I've been running barefoot. And I know conditions have been really bad, so I just wanted to make sure I was getting out. I have a offset dipole that I use.
Okay, could you copy that, Gary? Well, this is just a cheap little Radio Shack cassette that was sitting in a closet for 20 years, and a friend of mine, WA3FET, got a hold of the thing and he set it up. He had 7300 like I did, but he got his earlier than I did, about 6 months. So I've had this 7300, I don't know, about 15 months or so, and he programmed, he worked it out so that he could play the recording through the 7300. And before that, you know, the 7300 is not designed to play back recordings, only in the shack. In the shack. Okay, let me turn it to Jim, and probably sign off on the next transmission. And yeah, I heard about all that snow. I think you had 166 inches totally last winter when it was reconfigured, and we had 189. We average 190 a year, and this year so far we've had 95 inches. That has come down to 95. We average 190 inches a year, and it was back in 1968 and 9, way before I was here. Way over 300 inches fell that winter here, and absolutely inundated this place. Back to you, Jim. I didn't mean to hold us too long. KC9VKV, K1GZL, with my voice starting to go.
Roger. That last transmission, you were still 10 over. Right at the end, you took a little fade and went to about a 7 over. Right at the end of that last transmission, but that's the lowest that you've been, and you were still at 7. You were still well above the noise. So I think we got the technicalities worked out. We just have to get some of the other stuff worked out. And I appreciate your time, Charlie, and thanks for working with me on this, so we get some good alternatives set up, so we can get some real quality stuff. And I'll see what I can do about finding the material for us to delve into the project. Roger.
The project. Roger.
Yeah, that's great. That'll be fine, Jim. Really wonderful, and now we'll give it a try. The only thing you can do is try something. The little QRM came on there. I switched over to another antenna, and it disappeared, and you were as clear as a bell. Oh, it was remarkable. Okay, as light snow is falling here, and it's nice out. There's a very light northwest wind, about 5 miles an hour, and the snow on the ground varies because of the wind. Well, some places 15 plus inches, of course, on the ground. Okay, Jim, I'll sign with you on this one. If I can make it, I'll catch you on tomorrow's schedule. If I can't, we'll try to make it the following week. KC9VKV, K1GZL, and looks like this may work out fine, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie, and if you wouldn't mind, I would like to post this Qso as a representative of being able to switch between, one's home receiver and using an SDR as an option to get a better signal. I think it might be pretty interesting, Roger. Yeah, go right ahead. And when I get over to Bob's, I can watch that on the YouTube next Sunday. I won't be over there until Sunday, but he has a trouble getting your transmission to me through him. I don't know what happened there. He couldn't do it.
but maybe he's figured out what to do. I'm not a computer person. I never had a computer. I know nothing about computers. That is beyond my scope, which probably needs to be reshaped a little bit. Okay, Jim, real fine. And yes, if you want to put this on there, I'll tune it in on Sunday over there at.
Yeah, well, the SDR did work. One question, Jim.
When you're like right now, when you're sitting there and talking to me, do you have to go across the room to hear the SDR, or can you hear it right there at the operating position? Go ahead.
Charlie, I have a rotary switch that is an audio selector for the for my trim pot going into the mixer. So it's a 6-position rotary switch, and the computer is one of the selections, and the another selection is the receiver. So I can just zing back and forth between them. Roger, Roger.
Back and forth between them. Roger, Roger.
Okay, well, that's perfect. That's a beautiful setup you've got there, and that should help out. That would be horrible if you had to run over there 15 feet, then back and forth and back and forth. Boy, your legs would wear out or something. Okay, Jim, 73, thank you so much. 73 to you, Gary, there in Erie, northwest Pennsylvania, and on near Lake Erie, of course. And yeah, I heard about all that snow you had last year, but so far you say you haven't had much. November produced 58 inches up here. 8 inches came down here in November, and in October 23rd, I had a heavy wet snow that damaged this antenna, and my FWR is not good. Just under 3 to 1, and I'm living with it. And I can't do a thing about it until the snow goes off the ground, probably around the.
You can imagine, we're up here at 2,030 feet above sea level, and we get a lot more snow than they do on the Quebec side of the border.
On the Quebec side of the border, which is much lower, Sherbrooke, Quebec is 37 miles to my northwest, and it's only 485 feet above
the northwest Fort Self hill, over 1,500 feet, and that's called orographic upsloping, and that's really
sloping, and that really can dump us. We get the backlash, not the frontlash on these storms too much, but when you have a coastal storm, if there's going to be backlash, we get it, and we're getting a little bit of backlash right now, although this is not major. Okay.
But if I can't, I can't. But I'll see what I can do, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. We'll catch you guys later, and you guys have a good afternoon. 3's that away. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
Yeah, okay, gentlemen. Jim, good afternoon.
You're booming in here, too. And, Charlie, before you go, can I get a signal report?
Ringing back and forth between them. Roger, Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
Okay, 73, Jim, my pleasure. K1T, but all clear, and 73 to you, Gary, if you're still listening.
Hey, Charlie, before you go, can I get a signal report real quick?
Yeah, okay. 15 over 9, Doug.
All right, that's that makes me feel better. Gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure. I mean that. God bless you guys. Have a great afternoon, and hopefully we'll catch you guys down the log. Now I know, Charlie, before I leave, why White Christmas, they all want to go to Vermont, because that's where it's at. 300 inches of snow. I could not imagine that kind of snow. But anyway, we have the lake here. Lake Erie, usually before Thanksgiving, we get dumped on, and after that, once it gets froze over, which it hasn't in years, then it goes south of us. But it's sort of been, I guess with the El Nino, it's going to be sort of a mild winter, which is all right with me. Anyway, 73, gentlemen. God bless again. K1GZL with KC9VKV with the Alpha 3, Mike Bob X-ray Alpha clear.
Okay, real fine there. Well, our daily average mean temperature is 11 degrees. If it goes up to 18 degrees,
and down to 4 degrees. That is a normal day. That's normal. That is normal. And that drops down to 2 degrees lower at the end of the month. But the average for the month of January itself is in between a normal daily average of 10 degrees with a normal high of 17 and a low of 3. The valley locations, the normal low is 0 because they get the radiational cooling in the hollows. They'll have
here being off the air, but with this back on, I feel pretty good again. As I say, I got the first ticket in 46. I've had all sorts of antennas, and I'll tell you what this one is before we get out of here. I'm using an FT920, and with it I run 100 feet of RG8X out to a thing called an Anan, and that's a 9-to-1 type balance. And from that I have 130 feet of wire running out into the trees here on this 1-acre lot. And that wire is probably 20-25 feet above the ground. So that's all it is. But I'll tell you, I'm sitting on about a 1,000 altitude here. Altitude, I'll get it. Get the attitude out of here wrong. Altitude, and that makes a difference. Have a good one, my friend. Happy New Year. Thank you for the check. Keep things going to good old Pennsylvania for me. WA3MPX, WHCXU, Gainesville, Georgia, 7-3, and again, Happy New Year, Gary.
Yeah, okay, Frank. Happy New Year to you. WHCXU, WA3MPX. Yeah, no, it's sounding good. There's no problem there. Speaking about Ohio, my mom was from Fairport, Ohio. She met my dad there. He used to sail on the lakes, and after World War II, married and moved back here to. He lives in northeast Pennsylvania, which is between Erie and the New York state line. And I had an aunt that lived in Paynesville, Ohio. And, well, I'll tell you what, she used to bring down these Hungarian pastries. Oh, I'd kill for one of those right now. I lost my wife about 5 years ago, and I missed the good cooking. I can't cook, and so I'm living on whatever's laying around the house. But anyway, Frank, it's been a pleasure. I mean that. And God bless you. Have a great afternoon, and God willing, we'll catch you again down the log. And you take care of yourself and stay dry. W8CXU, W83MPX.
Okay, Gary, one last comment. W83MPX, W8CXU. I lost my XYL back in June of 2017. I've had this very, very good fortune of having a daughter and a son-in-law who've taken me in, and I've got a great location. I've got an acre to play with, and I've got all the food I need to eat. I feel sorry for you, pal. Let me tell you, me too. I know what you went through because I had a little of it during the time my wife was in hospice at the house. 7-3, my good friend. God bless, and really a pleasure. W83MPX, W8CXU, clear, 7-3.
Okay, Frank, real good. Hey, the Lord's great, man. He knows how to provide and take care. So I know there's a meaning in it for me, and so we walk and talk with him daily, and she led me to him, and so we're just waiting to the day that she turns around in heaven and says, "Oh, there you are," which hopefully things the way the world's going will be soon. So, okay, Frank, catch you again. W8CXU, W83MPX, off and clear.
7-3, Gary. It is part of his plan. 7-3.
MPX, this is KC9VKV.
KV.
KC9, go ahead with the call. I didn't get the whole thing.
Roger, Kilo, Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo, Victor. We're copying the mail on the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR, Roger.
Roger.
Oh, okay. This is Jim, correct?
Roger. Yeah, we're down around Louisville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we usually just talking with Charlie, and I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. But good afternoon to you, and well, like you said, you're booming it up here. You're about 20 over.
Roger. How much power are you running right now?
We're running 100 watts. We have a TS590 that we got about a year ago. We have a radio upstairs because, as I got older and, different schools and stuff like that. it was much easier. So I had a linear that I brought up here with me, and it was an old one, and it died on me, and so I've been sort of barefoot, considering or thinking about getting a linear, but conditions haven't really been that great. But yeah, we're running 100 watts here, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, you're sounding really good on this Pennsylvania SDR. I just switched over to my local receiver, and you're about 5 dB over my noise level, which is about average for 100 watts from your distance to me at Louisville. But boy, that SDR makes just all the difference in the world, Roger.
Oh, Roger on that. Yeah, I know a lot of people are getting into that because the conditions are just not there. Geez, I remember when I first got my license, you could get up in the morning and talk all over around the world. Now it's man, I just hope I can hang around long enough so when the cycle changes.
Oh, Roger that. Yeah, and there's so many things out there that interfere with this signal. If they're not natural, like Mother Nature and conditions, it's humanoidal contamination. Folks that really are on the deep end of life and have nothing better to do than to try to maliciously interfere with communications. It's unfortunate, but amateur radio does have their share of those.
No, I know. Just down the range here a little bit, there's a frequency that, man, I'll tell you, I've been a ham since '67, and around 1990, they were up around on 20 meters, and it just turns my stomach when I hear it. I just can't believe. I was thinking that the other day. It's when they eliminated the Morse code, is when things sort of slid south a little bit. But what are you going to do? It's still a nice hobby to have, and it keeps me company. And if I get up in the middle of the night, can't sleep, I come in and tune around the band a little bit. But anyway, Jim, I'm going to have to back out of here. I got a phone call. It's my son. He called me a couple times, so I don't know what's going on. And but I appreciate you coming back. I see you got a thing on YouTube. I pulled your call up, and I was gonna go check it out. And maybe we can catch you again here. You guys on this frequency every day?
No, I usually just run on Friday afternoons between 3:30 and 5 Eastern, and we record the full time there, and so then I post the whole thing up on YouTube, and you can go to YouTube and do that call letter search of Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll bring up the Qso-Vlog page, and usually it's on the first page, but maybe on the second page. And what we do is we usually call it my group air check and then the date, and that's how you'd find it. But I have been recording this one. I was recording with Charlie and just let it roll on. So I do have us in Qso, and if you were to go to YouTube and do the call letter search, it would come up. I'd have to verify Gary, and the call sign is WA3MPX. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
Roger's on that, Jim. That's exactly the call, and well, that's pretty something.
Roger. Well, I just was rolling in record, and that's what we normally do. So I'll have this posted in the next couple of days. Usually, I could usually do it earlier, but I don't want to say earlier and then not be able to do it. So I usually say we'll get it up there in the next couple of days. Roger.
Roger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that. That'd be great. I know I got to hear myself with Charlie, and sounded pretty good. Yeah, my dad, his name was Charlie. He became a ham radio operator back in, I think, in around 1990. And we had some friends that his that were ham radio operators. We would talk all the time. And he passed away, and that year all of his friends passed away that I used to talk to, and I got off the radio I couldn't even turn the radio on Hold on one second, Jim.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. I hear somebody back in there. Try it again.
Yeah, it's
Give me another transmission. I'll go to my local receiver. Gosh, I can't pull you out on either one of those. I would say I'm trying this new thing. Come up right up on your microphone and try it again, and we'll have to just say too bad the ALC. Just come up on mic and talk. Roger, well, you know, what I think is you might need a little more top end on your EQ. If you have a chance, go to your EQ and crank in just a little more top end. I can hear you and your mid-range, but you know, it's lacking articulation, and articulation is the higher frequencies in the audio spectrum. So if you go to your top end EQ and add about 3-4 dB, something like that, it'll really help being able to understand what you're saying in a marginal situation.
Hey, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you say you're from Louisville?
Where I can see Louisville. I can see downtown Louisville from here. We're about 3 miles away on the other side of the river.
Oh, okay. My uncle was from Louisville, and his mom used to come up, and she would make this ham and beans over cornbread. Oh, my gosh. There's another thing that I'd turn over just to have some. Man, that was the greatest stuff in the world.
Oh, Roger, man, I a lot of times OD on cornbread for sure, you know.
Yeah, that was, and you know, that was the thing that the more you heated it up, the better it got.
Oh, yeah. It's got to have a nice kind of hard bottom, you know, not real hard, but, you know, pretty hard.
Yeah, boy, those are the good old days. But anyway, yeah, we'll definitely look forward to that on YouTube, Jim. That's a great thing that you do there. And I know I check into a net on 20 meters, and we use Tiny Chat. The net control, his name is Charlie. He's out of Missouri, and he has the speaker next to his microphone, so we can hear. And with conditions as bad as they are, a lot of times I can't check in, but I can at least go on Tiny Chat, and you can either, you know, video talk, or you can just text, you know. For some reason, my computer, I can't get in the video, so I just, you know, send text messages. But it's a Christian net. We pray for people that need prayer. We pray for them right away, and they've been going now for about 7 years. So, like I said, nowadays there's a lot of different angles that you can use to make ham radio still sort of like ham radio. It's not like it used to be, but maybe someday it will be there. Go ahead.
Roger that. Well, you know, I keep on hand a prayer for the mentally ill. And I consider anybody that, you know, tries to interfere maliciously with, you know, Qso to be somewhat mentally ill. So I do break out this prayer, and it's about probably about 3 or 4 minutes long, but I do it in sections. There was like, I think last time we had this person that was doing a Tweety Bird, constant Tweety Bird, and so I did break it up into 3 parts. I prayed for him in 3 parts. Roger.
Roger's on that. No, I know what you're saying there. A lot of times we'll get, when conditions still were good, we get people that would come in and, you know, they don't want to hear anything about woe of God or anything. And, you know, you got all these frequencies, so why hang around? I just don't understand it. You're right. They are a little stitched in the head. But, you know, the Lord says you got to pray for them, because Jesus said when he was on the cross that
forgive them, Father. They know not what they're doing, and now these people need to give. I was in the world once, and boy, I just thank the Lord that I met my wife. She loved the Lord ever since she was a little girl, and she brought me to the Lord. My kids are saved, and I just like I said, she passed away 5 years ago. She was 58, and I know where she's at. I miss her terribly. That's the one thing that's really hard to get through. But you know, I walk with the Lord, talk with the Lord every day. I know He's real, and the Bible says He's real, and I know that the way the world is. My grandfather used to have a saying, Jim. What did the cat say when the train ran over its tail? It won't be long now. There, go ahead.
Oh, roger that, Gary. Well, listen, let me jump out of here. I enjoyed the Qso, and like I say, we will post it in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for KC9VKV, that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and then look for, in this case, there'll be a sign on the lower left-hand side that says, my pop-up air check, but the actual title will probably be Charlie's call sign and your call sign in the actual title. So I'll say 3s for now, and you have a good afternoon. And this is KC9VKV. We'll be clear.
Yeah, okay, Jim, real good. Hey, I really appreciate you coming back. I'm sorry when I broke in before and I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. I just wanted to see if I was getting out. You guys, like I said, I haven't seen signals like this in a long time. And, you know, I was listening to you guys for a while. I figured, well, you were nice enough I might be able to squeeze in there without getting my head chopped off. And then you came back to me, and I surely do appreciate that, Jim. And we will look for it on YouTube. And in the meantime, God bless you. You have a great day, and God willing, we'll talk to you again down the log. KC9VKV, W83MTX. We'll be clear.
Roger, 3s, KC9VKV, clear.
KC9VKV, W6 Tango Alpha, Germany.
Station ending in Germany, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think your other station was answering someone. You want to go up about, let's see, 4 or 5 KC?
No, I'm monitoring on the SDR. It'd be a real pain to do that. I've been on this frequency, so I consider it mine for right now. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm getting out of here anyway. W83MTX. Nice signal, by the way. And can I get a clarification on your call sign, please? Over.
Roger. This is Kilo, Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo, Victor.
Sure. Okay, Jim, my name is Bruce, like I said, and I'm on an SDR. I'm actually on a completely SDR system. I'm running the Flex 6400M, and it's barefoot, about 60 watts. So let me see, not even that much. My goodness sakes here. Let me get. I was running 5 watts, and now I'm running about 70 watts. Over.
Roger, I was monitoring the MILFORD, Pennsylvania SDR, and I just switched over to my local receiver, and you're a lot louder. I'm right at Louisville. Roger.
Oh, okay, that's where I was born, Louisville, Kentucky. Anyway, good to meet you, Jim. And I didn't want to hold it. I was just testing some stuff. I'm getting ready to take a cruise to eastern Mexico with my wife. And I wanted to make sure that all of this stuff was working. And of course, I'm going to use a tablet to communicate with the SDR radio here from the ship. So just checking mic levels and output levels and so forth, and looks like everything is the way it should be. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, this is W6 San Francisco Giants.
Roger. Well, you know, I think what happens a lot is that the first thing to go is the top end in the audio frequency response area, and so you know, I would crank up just a couple of dB on the top end above what you would think, because, like I say, the first thing that rolls out is the top end. So that's my thoughts anyway. I know on HF, you know, when you get out 300-400 miles, you have, it's all skywave, on 40 meters, and then sometimes you have bends happening at higher altitudes that come down, and they come down slightly out of phase with the main lobe, and the first thing that happens is that the top end starts to cancel as it works its way down the frequency spectrum. So I always crank in a little more top EQ than what you would think, Roger.
Roger.
Okay. Well, of course, you talk to 50 guys and you're going to get 50 different answers. I'm looking at my output on a spectrum display, and it's very flat. So I just cranked the low cut filter. Sometimes it's relative to what you're hearing, and other times it's relative to how much hearing damage you have. I can still hear to 15,750, which is more than the average person. I'm 70, over 61 years, and some guys will say, "Oh, you have no high end," and I'm looking at the spectrum scope, and I've got lots of high end, and others will say you have no low end. But anyway, you can go crazy with this. I'll show you. I'm going to crank this up. Okay, I am really cutting the lows now, so all you're hearing is the high end. But where I started out was down here, just about with a 100 cut filter, and with that, there's still quite a bit of energy from 100 hertz down to about 60 hertz. So thank you very much for the report, and it looks like everything is working as I expected here. And I've got actually 2 remote bases here. This is one of them. The other one is remotehams.com, tied in with an FT1000MP. But this time I thought I would give the 6400 a go on the ship. Back to you, Jim. KC9VKV, W6SFG.
Was that W6FFG?
FG.
Sierra Fox Golf, like San Francisco Giants, Shiny Fool's Gold, Southern Fried Grits, or Schwarzenegger for governor, over.
And the name is Bruce, Roger?
Bruce, Roger.
Roger, this is Bruce. Jim, over.
All right, sir. Well, we have been recording, and you have been recorded, and if you might be interested in your station sound, it is through the, mostly through the Pennsylvania, Milford, Pennsylvania SDR, but anyway, you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and then, I'm running out of space on the title, but hopefully I'll have Charlie's call, Gary's call, and your call in the title of the piece. Roger?
Roger.
Yeah, but I'm not quite certain what you're asking me to do. I'm on QRZ right now, and I'm familiar with that recording. What I normally do to set up my audio, and by the way, I've spent 65 years in the audio business as a consultant, as a designer, as an installer, as a little bit of everything. I normally do consulting these days, so I have experience in audio, and what I've done is I make a recording on my transceiver with all the filters and everything off, and then I play it back over the air, and I monitor it on another remote base, and I tweak it that way until it's just about the way I think it should be. So if you got a recording someplace, it'd be interesting. Go ahead.
Roger, yeah, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you look for a session that's would have your call sign in it. Roger?
Roger.
Okay, fine. I'm probably just about there now. Yes, I see VKV, and but I don't know if these are in chronological order. No, they're probably way down at the bottom, so it would be the other end of the spectrum, but I could do a search. Well, no, I can't do a search within here, but how are they lined up, Jim? Are they in chronological order?
No, YouTube just puts them there, and this one wouldn't be there until a couple of days. It'll probably be there earlier, but usually I just say it'll be up there in a couple of days. Roger.
Roger.
Roger. Well, in a couple of days, I should be in the Caribbean. And won't be listening. I'll actually be transmitting. So thank you very much, and hope you have a very happy New Year, Jim. And I'll say 73 for now. This is W6SFG, Lynchburg.
Roger, Roger, Bruce. Well, it'll be there when you get back. Probably. It may be on page 3. We're up around 400 QSOs or something, and as we add them, they shift on down to the next page, and you know how that is. So it may be on page 3 or 4, but it will be there. There's almost 400 of them that you can access through there. So anyway, have a good trip, and we'll say 3s and catch you later. It's KC9VKV.
Okay, 73, Jim, W6SFG.
Kilo 4, Bravo Tango Alpha.
Kilo 4, Bravo Tango Alpha?
Alpha? That is correct. This is Kilo 4, Bravo Tango Alpha, Lewis in Marietta, Georgia.
Well, hello, Lewis. I'm copying you on the SDR in Milford, Pennsylvania, but if you'll come back, I'll check my local receiver. Roger?
Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Lewis, I've talked to you before and in the past, and I've been on a different radio. Today I am on my Flex 6600 with my QRO amplifier running about 1200 watts. Roger?
Roger, you're actually coming in better on the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR than on my local receiver. What's the name there again?
Yeah, name here is Lewis, Lima Uniform India Sierra. We have talked in the past. I had some RF on my system, and you helped me take care of it, Roger.
Oh, roger that, roger that. Yeah, I'm sitting here with my right hand doing audio trim pot adjustments and PTT adjustments, and I also write with my right hand, so sometimes I don't get that call sign real quick because I'm doing other things. You know, when you got to adjust the audio level, that's the first priority. Second priority is if you need to talk, and the third priority is getting it on paper. Roger.
Roger.
Yeah, Roger that. Yeah, well, I won't take up too much of your gigabytes there. I know it's a lengthy process there for you, so I want to say a Happy New Year to you, and I'll say 73s, and thank you for picking me up.
Roger, Roger, Lewis, 3's that away. And again, I'm going to try to get you guys on the title page. I usually put the name and the call sign dash, name dash call sign, but I think I may have to just put the call sign dash call sign dash call signs. But it'll be up on YouTube, and if you go to YouTube and do the call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that's to the Qso-Vlog page, and then look for the entity that has your call sign on it. Roger.
Roger.
Yeah, Roger that. Thank you very much. Like I said, Happy New Year. Take care, and God bless. This is K4BTA. I'll be clear.
Roger, Roger, and doing a heck of a job from Georgia. 3's that away. It's KC9VKV.
KV.
Station calling. I was trying to check my local receiver. Come back again. You might have to come back twice. I'm on my local receiver now. Let me hear you.
Okay, fine. This is Kilowatt November 4, Hotel.
I'm getting a little interference there on the Milford repeater, the SDR. I can barely copy you on mine, but anyway, try one more time. Come up on mic and try one more time on the call sign. Nothing copied that time. You must be running 100 watts in somewhere in the 500-mile range or thereabouts, because I didn't copy you at all that time. But try one more time if you'd like.
Kilowatt November 4, Hotel, Mobile.
Okay, Kilowatt, November 4, Hotel, and what's the last?
The last?
We are Mobile, sir. We're Mobile in motion, Mobile.
All right, so the call sign is Kilo Nancy 4, Hotel. Roger, Mobile?
Mobile?
Roger, that's correct.
Roger. Well, where might you be mobiling?
Feeling.
We're Mobile, 30 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia. We're 30 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Bob. Bravo, Oscar, Bravo, over.
Well, Bob, you're making a heck of a trip from being a mobile in Georgia, Roger.
Roger.
Well, I appreciate it. I just want to let you know how well I'm receiving you in the Mobile. You're S9 Plus. S9 Plus in the Mobile. We're just downtown doing a little bit of shopping to do.
Roger, Bob. Well, let me say threes to you, sir, that you got a smoking mobile there, and we are recording, and I'll try to get your call sign in the title. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and then look for a session that has your call sign in the title. Roger?
Roger.
Oh, Roger. Well, thank you so much. That'd be very helpful. I appreciate that a lot. And thank you for taking the time to say hello to us. Very best 73s and Happy New Year. And 4AK to Mobile. Bye-bye.
Roger, Bob. Three's that away, sir. Mobile smoking. Catch you later. KC9VKV, clear.
November 1, Charlie,
KN4 Mobile. KC9NCX.
I don't think that mobile heard you down there in Georgia.
Georgia.
November 1, Charlie, Kilowatt, Quebec. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
That's correct. Yes, it is. Thank you for coming back. My name is Gene, Germany, England, November, England. Gene is my name. I'm located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Quebec.
James, I tried to switch over to my local receiver, but I am copying you better on the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR. Roger.
My name is Gene, Germany, England, November, KC9VKV, and 1CKQ.
Roger. You are right at the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR's noise level. You are right at the noise level, though, sir.
Sure.
Okay, does this put the processor on? Does this help any?
I could hear you a little bit better, I think. Come back and let me listen.
Listen.
Okay, KC9VKV. This is N1CKQ. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, and my name is Gene, and I'm interested in an audio report. What does the audio sound like? If you could tell me, I would appreciate it. KC9VKV, I think Louisville, and 1CKQ.
Roger, Gene. Sounds good to me. What radio are you running?
I'm running a 10-check Orion 2, about 100 watts. I've been experimenting with the audio and using headphones, and I found that with the headphones on, my audio sounds distorted. When I just take off the phones and put on the transceiver monitor, the audio sounds clear, which is what you're telling me, and I appreciate it. By the way, you're 10 over 9 here in the Greensboro. I think you're in Louisville. What is your name, please, and where are you located?
Well, you're right. We're just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. I can see downtown Louisville from here, which is about 3 miles away. And the name is Jim, Juliet India Mike. Roger.
Roger.
Okay, Jim, very good. Across from Monanga. Yeah, whatever you said. You're in Louisville. Very good. I appreciate that. I really do. I've been fooling around with this radio and just got it back from the shop. I had to do some work on it, and I guess it's working out okay now. I appreciate it very much. All right. I know probably a lot of guys are trying to get hold of you. You've got a really bodacious signal out here. Out of curiosity, I got the audio report, which is good. Thank you for that information. What's the signal report like?
Well, I can't really give you a signal report because I'm using the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR to copy your mail, but I'm looking on the output of that audio on a VU meter. And what I normally do, I do the same thing on my receiver because I usually have the RF level down below compression. So obviously the S meter is no longer readable at the reduced RF level. So I'm looking at the audio from the receiver on a VU meter. And so I set the 0 meter for 0 for your voice, and then when you finish speaking, it is showing my residual noise level. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this remote SDR from Milford, Pennsylvania. And I noticed that when you stopped speaking, the signal to noise level was about -6, I think. So that would mean that your signal is 6 dB above the Milford, Pennsylvania SDR noise level. Roger?
Roger.
Okay. Bottom line is you're able to hear me, and it's a decent signal. I appreciate that a bunch. I'm running, as I said, 100 watts, so maybe I did not. I'm using a 40-meter whip mobile. I guess it's called a handstick. I'm using a handstick on the second floor balcony of the apartment in which I live here in Greensboro. And I'm originally from Massachusetts. All right, thanks very much. You're obviously working remotely the FDR in Pennsylvania. I've never tried that before. I don't know what it's like. But whatever you're doing, it's working quite well. Jim, thank you. Appreciate it very much, the information. Once again, we'll have another Qso at another time. Stay out of trouble. Happy New Year. Have a very pleasant 7th treating you. Again, thank you for your hospitality. KC9VKV and 1CK2.
Roger there, Gene. And like I say, we'll get this out. We are recording our Qso-Vlog in a my pop-up air check configuration. Usually we do it Friday afternoons between 3:30 and 5 Eastern on this frequency, but we're kind of taking a what is that? A busman's holiday, and so we are recording. So I'll be posting this up on YouTube if you get a chance. We'll get it up in the next couple of days, so you can drop by YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, which will be the take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and then you'll look for a Qso-Vlog that has your call sign in it. Hopefully. I think I'm going to have to get about 6 call signs in there. And incidentally, as far as your signal strength is concerned, although it is just a 6 dB above the noise level there has been a gentleman that's been speaking constantly for the last 30 minutes. I'm not sure exactly what he's saying. He's way down in the mud, but he has been speaking for 30 minutes. So there you go.
That's amazing. I don't know. Maybe he's talking to himself. I'm not hearing him. The only one I'm hearing is you, obviously. When you were talking to other individuals, I hear them very weakly indeed. And thank you for the information about this. I wasn't intending to have you record me. I don't mind that at all. But that's I called. I called, as I said, to have you do the audio report, which you did. But I will check it out in a couple of days on the internet. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. I'm happy about that. I've been playing with this for a while now. I've got another outboard processor, but I won't bore you by putting that on mine. Have a great day. Happy New Year. To watch you again sometime. I certainly will. KC9VKV. Good afternoon from N1C.
Roger, Roger, Gene 3 is that away, sir. I appreciate you checking in there. And like I say, we'll get that there in a couple of days. So 3s for now. We got to get out of here. We got to get some work done. So 3s, everyone. Catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Be clear.